everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Courtney and I teach you travel tips and I teach travel hacking so that you all can travel more for less. And if you're a current subscriber, a family member, or a friend, I so appreciate you joining in today. If you know me, you know that I absolutely love a good deal. So today we're going to talk about different ways that we can save money when we're traveling. If you like travel hacking videos like this, be sure to subscribe and give this video a like, and let's jump right on in. My first tip when trying to save money to travel is booking your flights in advance. Now, the sweet spot window is definitely between 2 and 3 months. I recommend turning on your Google Flight notifications and just setting a reminder to constantly check flight prices so that you know when they've dropped. But rule of thumb is you definitely never want to book less than 30 days out. Once you're 1 month out, the flight prices definitely jump up. So I always like to try and stick between 60 to 90 days before my travel. Sometimes the cost of airfare can be the biggest expense of your trip. So booking your flight early is one of the best ways to save money. My next tip is traveling during off-peak season. You travel during a city or a specific destination's off-season. Not only is your flight going to be cheaper, but so will your hotel and even activities that you do. Now, last year we went to Italy towards the end of April into early May, which is just the beginning of the early tourist season in Italy. And we got a really good deal on our flight and our hotel. And it was like pre-crowd and pre-heat. Some say that there is no off-season when it comes to visiting Iceland, but it is better to visit outside June to August. It's also a really good idea to try and visit Paris during the fall season. Crowds are typically lower, the days are shorter, so all around it will make for a cheaper vacation. Do a little bit of research on the destination that you want to go to, see when their off season is, and then look at flights and hotels and see if you can get a better deal. My next tip is one that I definitely had to come to terms with, and that is using public transportation. I was never really a fan of taking buses or trains or the subway, but I quickly realized it is one of the easiest ways to save a good dollar. I've been to Rome a few times where we have used a car transfer service, and it typically costs us between $100 and $150 to get picked up from Rome's airport and then taken to our hotel, which is typically in the city center. But if you use the train, you are saving so much money. Depending on what time of year and what time of day, it can be less than 20 euros. Plus, when you take public transportation like the bus or the train, it's such a great way to see the city that you're in and get a feel for how the locals travel as well. An additional little pro tip when it comes to saving money on transportation, I've actually used hop on, hop off buses as a mode of transportation in different cities. You can buy a one-day ticket and it will literally take you all the way across the city. So not only are you getting a tour, you're also getting free transportation. My next tip is pack light to avoid baggage fees. Not only will the airport charge you for an oversized bag or even a checked bag, but some trains in Europe will as well. And if you do opt in for an Uber or a taxi, the more luggage you have, the bigger car you have, meaning the more that that's going to cost you. Now, this next tip might not be for everyone, but a good way you can save some money while traveling is actually traveling overnight. So I once took a sleeper train while in Scotland, and it took me from Inverness all the way to London. And the train left at about 9 p.m. at night, and it was about a 10 to 11 hour train ride. So I just slept the entire time. Now I had a pretty nice bed, so it was comfortable and I was well rested. But not only did I have accommodation for the night, I also had transportation to my next destination. You can find a lot of trains and buses that offer overnight travel, so it's kind of like killing two birds with one stone. This next tip is definitely one of my favorites, and it's to eat like a local. Don't even bother with fancy sit-down restaurants where you're spending hundreds and even thousands of dollars. Instead, go to the street markets, go to the food stands, go to where the locals eat. Not only is the food significantly cheaper, but it's often so much better. Some of my most favorite travel memories and travel stories come from eating at these local food stands and getting food that only costs me dollars. Another tip when traveling that I like to kind of do a little preparation in advance for is looking for free activities. When going to a new city or a new country, there is almost always lots of things to do for free. That can even just be walking around and exploring, going into different museums or libraries, going across city walks, checking out parks. So many free things to do. All you have to do is a little bit of research to see what that city or country offers. Something that kind of goes in line with free activities is also looking at city passes. So typically, if you're going to be visiting a country for a couple of days and it's the first time that you're visiting, you're going to want to sightsee and see some of the main attractions. So getting a city pass can often help you knock those out for a lower cost. For example, in Rome, they have the Rome Pass, which gives you access to seeing the Colosseum, the Vatican, and the Roman Forum, and you get it at a lower cost than if you were to buy all of those tickets individually. My last tip for you is to avoid buying airport food and drink. Now, I know this one can be hard because typically when we're traveling, we want to snack and we're hungry because we're busy and we're running around and we're in a different time zone. But do your preparation beforehand and pack one of those famous snackle boxes that you see on TikTok, or just bring a baggie filled with your favorite. I always make sure to run to the grocery store beforehand and get some of my favorite snacks. Definitely things that I can take on the plane that are non-perishable and typically that don't contain any peanuts. That way I can snack for a much lower cost. I hope you guys found all of those tips helpful, and I hope that you can save some money on your next trip. If you enjoy videos like this, then be sure to subscribe to my channel and give this video a like, and I will see you guys in the next video.